Good. So I've been here a week, and they asked me to come back and speak to the fifth grade class, the coolest class in school. So here I am. I'm gonna speak a little bit on what I've done. I mean, you've seen how I work downstairs, but I mean, this is after 22 years. So who's been to Six Flags? Okay. You seen the guys in there that draw caricatures, cartoons of people? Okay, so I did that in 1997.
Oh my gosh.
So that was 2 years after I graduated from college. So I started drawing. I could always draw. I didn't take an art class till my senior year in high school. I say that because there's some people who like drawing now and can draw, and not only this school but other schools, they'll still come up to me and say, and not just looking at my mural but some of my other stuff, and they'll say I'll never be able to do that. You know, when I was young, you guys' age, I do cartoons. I didn't try to draw anything hard. So Henry Ford, anybody know Henry Ford?
Yeah.
Made the car. I'm sure have you guys heard his famous quote?
Yeah.
What is it? If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Both ways. So if you say I can't, you know, that means you're already stopping yourself from getting disappointed and learning something, even if it's hard. If you say I can, you're also right. You're going to force yourself to get good at it. So who in here is great at math? Who has struggles in math? Who's going to get better in math? So how do you get better? Just keep on doing it. So even somebody who gets straight F's now, by the time they get to high school or college, they could be the person who tutors everybody because they just never quit. So anything that you're really going to want to do in life, especially an artist or anything, there are going to be moments when you're going to want to stop because it's tough. But you got to keep on pushing through. So that's what happened with me. When I first went to Six Flags, I was no good. I really wasn't. I wasn't great at all. I didn't know how to do it. I learned how to do it the first day. And at Six Flags, we got paid only if people liked it. And so a lot of times people walked off. And so that's really hard on the ego. You know, so if people are walking away, you don't want to go back the next day and get embarrassed again. So I went home and practiced. And I just kept practicing. And I actually wanted to quit at one point because I was just frustrated. It's very hot out there. We're out there all day. And I had children laying on my back. And I had people standing behind me while I was drawing their friends or their family saying that it doesn't look good or it doesn't look like you. I don't know what you're doing. I hear all this in my ears while I'm trying to draw. So I'm sweating and I'm nervous, which makes me draw worse. So I didn't want to go back. But I had to push through and fight and force it. But also, I was 25 years old, which was like being 40 at Six Flags. Because everybody else there is in high school. So I'm out of college and I'm working. So I made myself go home and practice every night. But I also knew I wasn't going to go back to Six Flags because I liked doing caricatures, but I didn't like Six Flags. And the guys who were out there, they have been there for years longer than I have. And they were making good money. So they told me about this guy, Kruger. And this is the actual book I had while I was at Six Flags. And as you can see, it's not in great shape because I looked at it every single night. I had no idea how to do caricatures, but I looked at this each page by page very slowly. Anybody heard the group, the Rolling Stones?
Yeah.
So that's what this is. So this is a caricature book based on the Rolling Stones. So this guy does really crazy caricatures of the Rolling Stones, and he's world famous. So I looked at this, and then I looked at people's faces, and I tried to see how he was doing it. And so I taught myself how to do it. So while I was at Six Flags, I still didn't draw great, but I learned by looking at this that he uses acrylic on canvas. And my brain, the way I thought, and this is the first time I ever thought this, so I was like, acrylic on canvas, on the illustration board, I can go to the art store and buy that. And so all I need to do is figure out how he uses it. I've never talked to him, but I just pretended I could figure it out. And so this was one of my acrylic on illustration boards of LL. And I got to this by looking at that every day. But at first when I was drawing at Six Flags, I couldn't do this. And I couldn't do it with the pressure of out there every day. But at home at night with music, wearing my pajamas, I could do this. Because I was a lot more relaxed and I was just really concentrating on getting better. So I got to do all these. And because I didn't quit, because I could have quit. I could have quit and just Who knows? I could be working Subway right now. But I didn't. And then there's this guy named Chris Lighty who, he actually called me on the phone because we didn't have email and all that stuff back then like we do now. He called me on the phone and said, I'm doing an album cover and I love what you're doing. Oh, in between Six Flags, when I quit Six Flags, I did enough of those and I sent them to a guy who I went to college with. And what's one of the biggest words downstairs that starts with a C on the mural?
Character.
Character. So because I had great character and I was good to people, very important. That's really been probably the bedrock of my career is people like me because I'm cool and I'm not uptight. And some folks like to think I'm famous or a lot of people know me. I'm an artist. Nobody has to buy my art. Therefore, I have no right to have an ego, attitude, or have the nose stuck up. I don't do that. I'm just kababi, and I just happen to love painting, and a certain number of people like my work, and they share it. It gives me no reason to have an ego. This guy here, Chris Lighty, called me because he saw my work in a magazine, because the guy who I went to college with was now the editor of Rap Pages. And all those things I practiced, I sent to him, and he said, hey, we got an album review section in the magazine, and we'd love for you to do the caricature every month. I did that every month, and because of that, Chris Lighty, who was the producer for LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes and all these other guys, he called me and said, I'd like to do your album cover. So now, I have people my age, I'm 46, that will come and see this plaque. I used to have it in a bathroom at my wife's restaurant, Sweetheart. And they would come out the room almost crying because his album meant so much to them back in the day. And that's huge. But again, I got to this by not quitting, right? And I also got to this by having character. So just keep that in mind. And this world is real small. So you guys live in Kirkwood. Some of y'all might be here in Kirkwood as an adult having a job. So when you're around certain friends and you walk around, and sometimes it's funny to walk up behind adults and spit and whatever and cuss and all this kind of stuff, they might turn around and catch your face. Face doesn't really change that much between now and when you become 16. And that might be somebody who you actually go to and say, hey, any chance you have a job? I'm like, you know what? You look real familiar. And they could have saw y'all messing around with the wrong kids and be like, you know what? They won't tell you. But after they interview you, they'll go like, nah, I know that kid. No way. No way at all. Keep that in mind. So when something seems funny out in public, doing something to somebody else, that might come back to bite you. So just keep that in mind. Character is huge. That's why it's the biggest word on that mural. So with that, I kept on drawing, kept on painting, and I've been doing it for 22 years now. Honestly, I do it every single day. I almost brought in a painting that I did the other morning. Some are small, some are big, because a lot of people like to say, how long does something like that take you? I learned to look at it a new way, because I don't really watch the NBA, but my son likes basketball, so we're going to start watching it more. And who watches the NBA? Who watches a basketball game, a football game? So how long does an average game last?
3 hours.
3 hours. So they're getting paid because people like the team and they're popular, this, that, and the other. But as an athlete, what do they do most of the time?
Sit around.
No, believe it or not, no.
Practice.
So practice, ice baths, getting stretched that hurts, all this kind of stuff, which is almost the same as math, homework, taking out the trash, all that stuff you don't want to do, it all makes you. So when somebody asks me how long it takes me to do one of these paintings, even if it takes an hour, it only takes an hour now because I draw all the time. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I don't know if I drew yet this morning, but I usually get up early and I just start drawing, or I walk over to my studio. I'm up till 2 at night. And I'm working on stuff just for me, or I'm just working on stuff just because. And so doing that all the time, when I come here and I can do a face in a couple hours, is because I've done so many faces. So when somebody pays me, or they pay me a lot, they're paying me for all the practice. When you're paying athletes, you're paying somebody who's been willing to practice every day, all the time. Even when friends want to go out and hang out, hey man, let's go to the park and go swimming. Nope, gotta shoot baskets. Even if you're 10 years old and you love it, and your dad's like, no, you love basketball, just one day a week, you need to shoot 100 baskets. And that one day a week that you committed to, that's also the one day a week and this is how it works. As soon as you say, Hey, Dad, yep, on Mondays, 100 baskets. Trust me, one of your friends is gonna be like, you know what, hey, Monday, man, every Monday we're gonna go get ice cream. And you're like, ah. And your dad's gonna be like, hey, you told me you were gonna go on Mondays. So you gotta make a decision. Ice cream's always gonna be there. But if you stick to that, doing that basket, shooting the baskets when it matters, when you come to a game or when you want to become part of a team, you're gonna be the one person that hits every free throw and the coach is like, I want that guy. But if you said, you know what, nope, I'd rather have ice cream, and then you're going to go and practice, you're going to miss all of them, you're like, shoot, you should have shut those baskets.
Oh, that commitment, right?
You never know when it comes time to show up what you should have done. And trust me, you woke up this morning, it's a new day. Yesterday you had a terrible test, today's a new day. Now you can practice. For the next test, you'll do better. Don't beat yourself up about the test that you didn't get a grade A on. You can always improve, always get better. And that's how I look at my art. Each mural I do, folks are like, what's your favorite painting? The one I just finished. Because the one I just finished is going to help me for the next one. And I just keep on going like that. On and on and on. You have your hand up?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we can jump in right any questions.
I feel like maybe a job is more important than getting ice cream.
Sometimes, yeah. You know what? And also, not to mess you up, but sometimes, when you're getting your ice cream, you never know. The person might be the person becomes the next Ben and Jerry. So, all depends. So that going that way might not get you on the basketball team. But again, if you don't beat yourself up about it and you look at where you are, you're like, no, I've had a lot of ice cream. I know ice cream. I'm gonna open an ice cream company. So there you go. So once you know you want to do something, ask people who've done it and then figure out that path. But be willing to stick to it. It's gonna be hard. It's not always gonna be fun. But you get to come to cool schools and do cool murals. So I do this every day. There's a project that I did, 365 Days of Dad. I tattooed it on the back of my neck. So when you go to, see science fiction movies and sometimes people have barcode on the back of their neck, like that's their identity, or dogs have a chip in their arm. That's kind of what my tattoo is. Like this is my identity now. So I'm like known for, I said 5 years ago, I want to be known when anybody goes on Google or internet, whatever, anybody in the world mentions, hey, we need to do something on fatherhood. Somebody in that room is like, I know the guy, Bobby in St. Louis. So I stuck on that and I did 365 paintings, and there were days where it was hard, days I didn't finish, and I just kept on painting them, and now I get people who come up to me and still want to cry because they love some of the art they saw. Yes, ma'am.
How many schools have you gone to, to paint?
I can't count. I know it for sure. I think this is 3 in Webster. I did Captain. Captain was actually the first. But I think I've done a little fewer than 10, just since January.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. Because on average, week and a half to 2 weeks to finish each mural, so that means I can do 2 in a month.
How old are you?
I'm 46. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Were you born with the name Kababi?
I wasn't. So I was born Clifford Bernard Miscale Jr. And when I started painting, my art name was Sea Baby. And when I went to Grambling, which is an all-black college, I was feeling being more black, so I dropped a Y and added an I. And so I turned my name into an acronym. You know what an acronym means?
Yeah.
What's an acronym mean? Yep.
Something short for something else.
And, yep, that's one way to say it.
So you take some letters of a name, like the OMG is an acronym for oh my gosh.
There you go. Exactly. So Kababi is Creative Black Artist Battling Ignorance.
Wow.
And then my last name is Bayok, which I waited to get married and have me and my wife come up with a name together so that our children would have a name for mom and dad, not just me, and came up with Blessed African Youth of Creativity. She's a writer and cook and all that good stuff. So my whole name is an acronym. That's been my name my entire art career. So I changed it in '97.
How tall are you?
6'4"ish. I wear a size 16. So I have to buy my shoes online on a website called Oddball. Yeah. Yep. I like the name. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I started art, one, because I could draw, and full disclosure, you know what that means, full disclosure?
Yes.
What's that mean?
Disclaimer.
Well, also means I'm gonna just be open and honest with you. You know, that's another way of saying it. I'm trying to get fancier with what I talk. So full disclosure, I didn't really like school. And once I got to high school, I really didn't like school. And I really just went to school and I went to Schnucks. Everybody know Schnucks? Yeah. So I used to be a bagger at Schnucks. And then I also, they don't have it anymore, but I actually worked in a video department when we had VHS tapes. That's how long ago I worked at Schnucks. And then I was gonna graduate high school and I was like, oh shoot. Because I talked for a long time, I told my brain I was gonna be a truck driver because I didn't need to go to school for that. I can just go get trained and then get on the highway. But somewhere I lost that idea. So when I was gonna graduate high school, I knew I could draw, so I decided to go to junior college, SWIC, and become an art major. Now, good reason you asked me that. I chose in high school not to take my ACT and SAT because I was a very lazy student. I didn't like studying, didn't like doing none of that. So I had to go to a junior college. There was no option at that time. And it worked. My career is cool. So here's one thing to tell you. If somebody decides they want to be an art major, or somebody decides they're going to be a veterinarian, this, that, and the other, if you figure it out in high school, start putting the effort into it. And not only that, into your classes. Because your teachers, you don't know who they know and where they could lead you. So my deciding not to take the ACT and SAT, I think life would have been a little different, maybe a little easier as an artist had I gone to an art school where professional artists came to explain to me what I could do to become a successful artist. But because I said, nope, no ACT, SAT, you want to know what, here's my analogy. So we're on the third floor? All right. And say, let's just pretend me going to art school and becoming an artist is as simple as me walking from here to that door. And I open that door and boom, I can start illustrating people and this, that, and the other. Me deciding not to take the ACT and SAT and going to junior college, not junior college, but choosing the lazy way is like, even though it seemed lazy at the time, it actually is more work. Because now I gotta jump through that glass and get all cut up and land on the ground and hurt myself, and then run around the school 5 times, and then figure out how to crawl back up the bricks and back into the window, and then walk to the door. I think it would have been smarter just to walk to the door. Probably would have took a few weekends just to study ACT, SAT, and then take tests. But I said, nope, just like the basketball and the ice cream. I said, nope, I just work at Schnucks, I'm good. I don't need those, I'm good. So don't always choose the lazy route. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to study. You know, you're not missing anything, just do it. Because you know what? Say it's Friday afternoon, say it's Thursday afternoon, you got a test tomorrow, and you decide not to study, you're still gonna go to sleep and wake up. And then you're gonna like, I could have studied. It's Friday morning. It comes fast, so just study. It's okay. Yep.
So you didn't go to college, you went to junior college?
Yeah, it's still college, but different. So I went to junior college, which I graduated, and then I went to a 4-year college. I went to Grambling.
What college did you go to?
Grambling State University in Louisiana. Yep.
We were learning from Coach John Wooden about some, ways to be successful, and he had a quote that was, failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
I agree.
The kids were like, yeah, got it.
So I also learned doing the murals. I've learned, like each mural I've learned, and there were some murals that I didn't have fully sketched before I got to the wall. And it took me a lot longer to finish. This one I had on my iPad, drawing out color scheme, boom. So I could just come in and knock it out, being prepared. And also she told me, I was talking about leadership. And this is one way I look at leadership. Who's the first person you need to be able to lead? Yourself. So by example. And I'm gonna use my son, my 15-year-old, as an example. I think it's kind of, in a way, leadership. This is one way to look at it. So my wife made tacos the other night and said everybody needs to put lettuce on it. That's it, right? So I go to eat some, and then he gets his bowl, and he sits down. There's no lettuce. So I say, where's the lettuce? He's like, I don't think, his sister's name is Journey and Barago. I don't think they had lettuce. So I was like, so, just because they didn't have any, what did your mom say? She said to get lettuce. So what if, let's say this classroom right here, you guys are gonna have a test next week, and you're used to to nobody studying. And a few times the teacher said, I know nobody studies, so you get one more day. Okay, you're used to that in your brain, so you're like, we can get by with not doing it because that's what we do. And then just one time you decide to follow the whole group and the teacher says, oh, none of y'all studied? Well, this one counted, so everybody gets an F. So instead of saying, I don't think they did such and such, what if you were the only one that did it and you actually got an A? So leading yourself, don't follow the crowd. It's so easy in life to do that. Because you know what? Stoplights, as an adult driving, there's a stoplight, it's red. It's going to turn green eventually. I watch adults do it all the time. The first person might decide to just go on through it. And then I'll look at the next person and they'll do this. And then they'll go through too. And then another person go through. And then I pull up to it and stop. And I'm not saying I'm always a genius, but I pull up and stop and then it turns green. I'm like, oh, y'all could have got a ticket following the first fool. Y'all knew it was going to turn green. You know it's against the law to go through a red light. But what we do is we watch other people do stuff and we see them get away with it. We try to do it too. It's not being a good leader. Leading doesn't mean you have a whole group of people behind you. It just means you lead by example as well. Right? So if you know you want to do something, follow your own gut. Downstairs, me doing the mural, kind of in the way of leading, like I don't get distracted. Like some people cannot paint in front of people. But pretend you decide you want to be a basketball player or whatever. I keep using that example. That's like me painting that mural down there. And say kindergarten through 5th grade, everybody came in, different noise came in, different groups, some people crying, some people laughing, and I still am painting on that mural. But pretend like each class coming in is somebody coming and say, hey, don't do that, come do this. And then the next group comes in, oh, you want to paint? How about you paint a house instead of painting people? And you're like, oh, maybe should I? Nope, no, I'm going to keep painting. Distractions, they happen. They're going to come, they're going to keep going, but you got to follow your heart and lead yourself the way you want to do, all right? Yes, sir.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food?
All of us would like to know that, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, roasted Brussels sprouts.
Yum.
What about what? Bacon? I'm a cookie guy. Chocolate chip cookie.
Ooh, yeah.
Ice cream,
M&M.
chocolate chip cookie dough. I'm real simple.
Now, do you still have like artists that you look up to or inspired by? Is it still that same magazine?
Well, it was him, but now now we have the Instagram, so I look at artists all the time. I look at graffiti artists. I look at people who work in pencil. I just like people who do really well, and that just makes me want to do really well what I do. So I look at all kind of artwork. Yep. I was born in New Jersey, and then I grew up in Illinois most of my life. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that you don't get distracted in 6th class?
Yeah, I think a big part of me, even though I didn't like Six Flags, I think because people were always talking and children were laying on my back, I can paint. I can sit right here in the middle of this group and folks can breathe on me with pasta sauce or whatever, and I can still finish my painting because it just doesn't bother me at all. And I also know that it's okay to show people if I make a line and it's oops, then I just cover it up because it's just paint, And some people are like this, they don't want anybody to see them messing up, but it's part of the piece. The mistakes in the piece also make the piece.
What's your favorite type of art? Mine's concept. I like concept art.
Concept art.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I like? I don't know. Every day is different. I like all of it. Sometimes abstract, sometimes realistic pencil drawing, sometimes a cool painting, sometimes a graffiti artist. All of it.
Some things on like the mural,
Yeah.
did you like change some?
I did. I changed the symbol for the green ribbon. I didn't like the way it looked. It looked kind of short. I could have left it because most of the mural is cartoony, but it was bothering me. So instead of letting it bother me, I just fixed it. I just changed it. What else did I change?
Did
Oh,
one person have hair?
one person did have hair. And also, glad you asked that. So here's the original, very first sketch when I started it. And I was super nervous. I was like, what am I going to do down there? So this is how I started. So y'all can pass it around. You can see on there these kids holding hands. Once I went to the iPad, they weren't even in there. I added them later once I got here and saw how long the wall really was. And so, yeah, it changed. Yep. And then it changed just because I talked to the principal and she mentioned something she'd like to see in it. So I didn't know about Mr. J till I got here, so that's how it came with the belt buckle.
Wait, what?
He's the one who always comes and works out in the back for the new design out there.
There's a new design out there?
Yeah.
He's in the mural.
Well, I gave a nod to him with the J and the belt buckle. That's him.
Did I see it after you, Julian?
Can I see it after you, Claire, please?
Yeah.
I have a younger sister. Yep. I'm the oldest, yep. She's 4 years younger than me. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did it take you to paint?
I started sketching it Thursday, two Thursdays ago. I sketched it 2 Thursdays ago. I started painting on it a little bit Friday, and then Saturday my friends came, and my sons, and my daughter, and they helped me block all the colors in, and then Monday I started doing details, so I worked on it all that week, so 9 days.
Whoa.
Yes. Most pictures take 22 years.
How young is your youngest child?
He is 13.
Wow.
And 15, and then I have a daughter who's a senior in high school. And she just drove yesterday my van for the first time by herself. Yeah, wasn't even nervous. Just a van. Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about your wife's business?
So my wife owns a bakery called Sweetheart. It's in the Shaw neighborhood, just by the Botanical Gardens. She bakes everything from traditional to vegan to gluten-free, and the lunch is vegan, vegetarian, and she's one of the best cooks in the city. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hi.
Have I?
Ever played any sports, I think?
You know what? Yeah, I started football in high school, and I quit that because I didn't like getting headaches. I played basketball for a little bit. I played baseball a little bit, but then the ball got really fast, so I stopped doing that because I just couldn't. My coordination didn't work for that. Now I love playing pickleball. Love pickleball. If you go to a tennis court, you'll see these. They look like baby tennis courts, and there's. I don't want to say there's only older people, but there's a lot of older people, and they got smaller rackets, and it sounds like a ping pong.
It's like ping pong, but bigger.
Yeah, kind of like ping pong, but not ping pong.
Any other questions out there?
Is that it?
What do we, one more, Truman.
Have you ever been outside the U.S.?
Have I been?
Outside of the U.S.
Yes. I lived in Korea when I was, for 2 years when I was like 9 to 11. And my sister was born in the Azores. I don't know where that is, but yeah, been outside the country.
Is that off the coast of Portugal?
Could be. I should know that. I should know that.
Kylie, do you have a quick question, girl?
Okay, what was Korea like?
What's what?
What was Korea like?
Korea was cool. I was young though. I don't know how I'd be as an adult, but I rode the bus by myself from our village that we lived in to the Air Force base, and I learned how to count money, and I climbed over the fence or walked through the fence and went to the little black market area, and I would go back there by myself. So I was a young, mischievous kid, so it was great. Yep.
Have you ever painted anything outside of the country?
Good question.
What did you ask Tom?
Have I painted anything out of the country? No. Not yet.
Yet.
I want to go to schools all over the world and just put murals up all over. And I'm gonna make it happen too. Yes, sir.
What city in Korea?
Seoul.
Oh, see, myself. What do you say?
Seoul.
I think that it'd be cool if you went back to your did you go to school in Korea?
I did.
It'd be cool if you went back to your school that was in Korea and painted a mural.
I think that's true. You know what? We were in trailers. That's how our school was. So we didn't even have a school building. So
Oh my gosh.
Outside the trailer.
I know, right?
Have you ever drew a mural of dogs?
No, I got asked to do something with dogs and cats, but they didn't approve it, so it didn't work out.
Oh, it's like being an author. You get to.
Yeah, sometimes people don't like what you do, man. Can't please everybody. So, keep that in mind too. Can't please everybody. Doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. Just means that's not your audience. So.
Well, can we, oh, that's
One
fine.
more. How'd you get to St. Louis?
Well, I grew up in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Okay.
And so after I graduated Grambling, I stayed down there for a little bit, and then I got a contract to come do a mural back here in St. Louis. And they gave me a deposit, so I moved back home. And then I lived with my mom for a little bit, but then we didn't want to live together like that because I had already been away from home. So she moved me into a loft downtown St. Louis, and I've been here ever since.
Nice.
Yeah. That's my story.
We say thank you.